Once again, welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining the Docmation webinar series. And today's topic is we'll be talking about the next generation communities built on advanced Lightning components. We also call them as communities on steroids. And today's speakers will be Prasad Pamadi, one of the partners here at Docmation, and myself, Jay, the PD. And we both are focused on community solutions. And before I go any further, I just want to talk about a little bit about housekeeping, a few of the housekeeping items. As we have quite a few folks joining the webinar, we would like to keep this the Q&A to chat only. And in the interest of time, we would make sure all the questions will be answered towards the end of the session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A. You can see the Q&A on top. And we should be able to get to those questions towards the end of the sessions. And we plan to have plenty of time as far as the Q&A goes. And the structure of the session is going to be basically, we're going to break it down into three parts. One is I'll take a few minutes to actually talk about Docmation and who we are, what we do, so that you can we set the stage so that you understand why we are doing what we are doing, where we're talking about this communities. You have some background about that. And then we'll talk about the actual topic today, the communities, the advanced communities, and what is our take on it? Why are we calling this communities on steroids? And Prasad will be walking you through those, the features of this communities on steroids, and actually giving you a demo of those, a live demo of those features. And then finally we'll open it up for Q&A for this session. So I know it probably doesn't make sense if you're not hearing me, but in case you have any trouble, whether in terms of voice, audio, or anything, please chat to us, and we will see what we can to address that issue. One other thing is the webinar is being recorded, so it will be shared with all the participants. In case you had to drop out, or if you would like to have a follow-up, you have to have it to share it with your colleagues or anyone else. Okay. All right. So let's go straight into the webinar. So a little bit brief about Docmation. Docmation is about 5 to 7 years, like 6 to 7 year old company. We have started in 2011. Right from the day one, our focus has been Salesforce. However, it started by industry veterans with more than 20 years of experience. And so with the diverse experience, we've had right from the legacy systems to the web applications we've seen the whole era of computing. So we understand the importance of the cloud, and that's where we decided Salesforce is where we saw the future, and we focused on Salesforce. And quickly we gained strength, and today we are about 50 plus certified Salesforce consultants. And all along this journey, one key differentiator for us is we have leveraged our vast experience implementing complex enterprise solutions to not just implement plain vanilla CRM solutions. We have leveraged it to actually integrate Salesforce, do complex integrations for Salesforce. And as a matter of fact, we are one of the first Lightning framework adopters. We actually worked with the Salesforce product team to build a proof of concepts on Lightning framework. And we were actually the first company to build a full-fledged application on top of Lightning framework. And it was showcased when the Lightning framework was launched in Dreamforce 14. And some of our components and applications were showcased in Dreamforce 15 keynote as well. So that's a matter of great pride for us. And soon we have launched a few Lightning products on the App Exchange, leveraging that expertise. But more since last couple of years, what we have learned and what we have realized is we wanted to focus these expertise in specific solutions. And that's when we as part of when we are doing the CR implementations for Salesforce, majority of our customers have been implementing communities. And we have combined our expertise of Lightning development and communities rollout. And we have developed several enhanced communities for our customers. And through that experience has come out this product that we're talking about, the communities on steroids. And this is a product which we will be showcasing today. Okay. Before I forget, we will be at the Dreamforce. So please do look us up. We are at the 1962 booth. Please come and meet us. We'd be happy to chat with you and actually give you a one-on-one demo. Quickly getting into Docmation as far as communities solutions is concerned. Docmation as far as communities is concerned, we have broadly solutions and services. In the solution space, we have packaged ready-to-use templates, which are loosely based on Napoli templates, but it's much more advanced, as you will see over the course of this demonstration. And we have a bunch of loosely a la carte menu of Lightning components also. Think of them as accelerators, think of them as self-service components. We will soon be launching them on the App Exchange. As of now, they're part of our solutions that we are providing to customers. And so that's what the solution space is. We do offer like a turnkey quick start solution for community, and also provide migration solutions for your communities from your previous implementations. And as far as services go, one of the key things that we differentiate ourselves is it's not just about technology for us. It's much more, because we realize based on our experience, technology is one piece of the puzzle. There are, I mean, when you're rolling out an enterprise solution, it comes with a lot of, there are a lot of other issues that you need to have strategy, you need to have processes in place, we need to have a complete solution in terms of rollout and training and support, end-to-end strategy, end-to-end services. And that's exactly what we offer as far as communities is concerned. Okay. As far as the key differentiators in terms of Docmation, the first thing is, like I said before, also think of this as people, process, and technology. We apply the same to us, to Docmation, as well as to the customers. When we think of ourselves as a community implementation partners, we broadly think of ourselves in the people, what kind of people resources we have, what kind of technology differentiators we bring to the table, and what kind of process differentiators we bring to the table. And one of the first thing is, as I've said before, we are more than 50 Salesforce certified consultants. We are actually inching towards all of them being community cloud certified consultants as well. So that's one of our key strengths. And the second thing is technology aspect of it. We have built a whole bunch of technical components, custom solutions, and custom accelerators, which are proprietary to Docmation. And I won't steal the thunder of Prasad, because this is exactly the topic of this presentation. He will be talking more about these when he gets to talk. But suffice to say that one of the key differentiators is our technical capability that we bring to the table, not just in terms of implementation, in terms of the products, in terms of accelerators we bring to the table. And like I said before, one of the things differentiates us is because of the processes. Along with people and technology, we bring the processes to the table. And we have put in a lot of effort based on all our experience in doing a lot of research, what makes a community successful. So we came up with the community maturity model. The purpose of this model is primarily to assess where you are in your journey on using and adopting communities, Salesforce communities, and this is specifically designed for Salesforce. And this is a whole webinar topic in itself. We will be having a future webinar on this topic. I won't go into a lot into detail, but think of this as tools that will assess you. We have a bunch of questionnaires which will guide you, which will evaluate where you are and quantify your journey, and actually come up with specific details in terms of your maturity level, and then come up with a roadmap, what you need to do, move from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, so on, and assess you, help you with in terms of the journey. And this is a very powerful tool. And this is used by, obviously this is not something, the maturity model itself is not new, but because it's used by capability maturity model, there are a bunch of maturity models for different technologies. And this is something very specific that we've developed for Salesforce communities. And talking about processes, the other thing that we really take a lot of pride is when we bring to table in terms of communities is, if you choose to use us, we come with a comprehensive community transformation methodology, whereas a community maturity model helps you evaluate where you are in your journey if you're already started using communities. The community transformation methodology is like when we come to implement a turnkey implementation, We come with a very comprehensive strategy in terms of how you want to go about doing it, and a very systematic way of coming up with the strategy, coming up with the processes that you need to be successful with your community management. Of course, there is no one size fits all. That's the reason why this template is designed such a way that we could adapt this methodology to each organization depending on your goals and priorities. And again, this was a whole webinar in itself. We would be happy to cover this in one of the future webinars. So with that, I would like to hand over the reins to Prasad. He'll be walking you through the actual demo of the solution.
Oh, thank you, Jay. Right. So you should, again, thanks everyone for joining our webinar. So as we go through the demo, I'll try to minimize the screen shifts between the different, as I move between different screens, so that you are able to follow me as well. And Jay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, so here are some of the common challenges that we have seen our customers experience while implementing the out-of-the-box community templates. And one of the things that we have done based on our past experience working in different portals and coming on to Salesforce and working in Salesforce communities is to address these challenges. We have created a framework and developed custom Lightning components and templates to address these gaps. So I will kind of go dive into detail into each one of these, and then talk about showcase how it is in the out-of-the-box provided by Salesforce, and how our community solution addresses the challenge using our framework and our custom components that were built. So if you take the communities, once you roll out communities, then you have your community admin who is taking care of all your the templates, the UI aspect of it, and along with that community administration, you also have content administration that you need to deal with, where you may have a third-party content authors or editors who would need to come into the community and keep updating the content to keep it fresh and keep that customer experience high. So one of the challenge with the current Salesforce out-of-the-box solution is, if you're a community administrator and you're working with your content administrators, both of those users would have to access the application through the community builder. So let me just switch over to the out-of-the-box, where how a community admin as well as a content admin will access the community to make their updates. So here is, as you can see, from a Salesforce login, as a community admin or a content admin would kind of come to this particular page. As you can see here, there's a lot of access that is being given to these particular users. So for example, as a community manager, it does make sense to have these access where they would control who has access to what, the control the permissions of that community, and also kind of laying out the UI aspect of it. But unfortunately, it's the same access a content admin will also have, whereas all they are doing is coming in, they're coming into this builder just to make a simple update, right? Say, for example, you're running a campaign and you want to make an update to, let's say, extend it from October to November 10th. Now, for this simple update, the content admin needs to have a lot more access than is required. Right? And then once the site is published, then they will see the changes here. So to address this issue of where both content admin and community admin are having, or where the content admin is having a lot more access than is required, what we have developed as part of our community solution is split those roles out. So where when as a content admin, there is really no need for me to log into the builder, right? All I would need is access my community, and if I need to make changes to say, okay, I need to change this marketing offer from October to November, all I'm doing is here, as one of the things I want to highlight here is, this is the actual community the end customer is viewing, but now I am accessing this community as a content administrator. So that's why you can see the little bit cogwheels that give me access to the content directly and able to edit that content directly without having to go through the builder. Right. So most of the community managers would be extremely happy because they don't have these additional content administrators meddling with their community pages. So the same update. So all we are doing is now, so I've updated the marketing campaign message, and then we hit save, and then you can see it's automatically saved and is reflected on the community side, right? So here, if I log in, if I go to the end customer experience, so this is the same website where now let me just refresh this page, and as you can see here, as a customer, I'm accessing the same exact page, but I don't have any of these additional cogwheels that are being reflected here because, and you can also see the message being updated for that marketing as part of that marketing campaign. So kind of going back to that thing. So here, using our framework, we have and solution, we have separated the content administrators and community administrators. Now, taking that same aspect to the next level, now you might have a situation where you might have multiple content admins working within your site, right? So they might be, let's say, if you have multiple products that you're showcasing on your community, and you might have a specific content writer or editor for each of those specific products, and you don't want one overwriting the other, and vice versa. So for that, right now, there's really no, again, as we have seen here, out-of-the-box solution, there is no way for to differentiate those roles, because if I have 4 or 5 or content writers or content editors, all those 4 or 5 folks would have access to all these whole set of functionality, which is again not really required. Right. So to address that separation of permissions within the content editors, we have created role-based permissions where by associating each of those components to a permission set, we are able to control who has access to what, and then what part of the site that particular content admin can update. So kind of just switching back as a content admin. So here I am logged in as content admin 1, where I have access to most of the components on the site where I can go ahead and update. Now there is this one particular element where I do not have access because this is something out of my domain, and I'm not the content editor or the content admin for this. Now switching to that content admin 2 view. So here I'm logged in as Jennifer, and here if you can see, most of the site I do not have access to make any updates, and here the only part of the site that I can make update is the one that I'm responsible for. So I can go here and make a quick update, and that should get reflected here as well. So here, using this role-based permission sets, we are able to give a finer grain of control and separate those content admins within the site. Again, as we're going through, if there are any questions, please feel free to use your chat window. And okay. And now the next part of the piece is where you, out of the box, when you're using the standard components, there is little reusability of the components, or a little, and also the configuration aspect of it. So for example, if you take the trending articles, if I'm using trending articles to showcase a specific topic, then out of the box component requires me to supply the actual topic ID. And let's say if I'm propagating this from my sandbox instance all the way to production, that means every time I'm propagating or migrating this particular piece to a different sandbox, I have to keep updating or configuring this particular component with the appropriate topic ID. And then once it gets rolled out to production, I'll have to go in and get the topic ID and then update the topic ID and then publish it. So there's a lot of manual steps that are involved, and there's no easy way of easily configuring where you configure once in your sandbox, and as you migrate, those configurations also get propagated. Right? So taking that trending article example, so what we have done with our solution is extended that component where we actually enabled, instead of using a topic ID, you actually use the actual topic name. And once you use the topic name, and as you migrate this particular component, that kind of propagates through your sandbox environments and into a production without a content admin or a community manager going in and having to reconfigure every time it's being migrated. And along the same lines, the reusability aspect of it, if say if you want to use a particular marketing message, I just updated that marketing message earlier. So for example, if you are running a marketing campaign, you may want to have that message appear on multiple pages, right? So if you're using that a component to display your marketing campaign on multiple pages, if you're using out of the box where you have this marketing message being added to multiple pages, if let's say if I want to update that marketing message, then I have to go in and update each and every individual component that is being used on each and every page to have that reflected. So earlier I made the change to one of that message on the standard components. So here this is the one that is being updated. Now if I go into my products page, unfortunately I kind of totally missed out on it, right? So now it's still showing that it's getting ended by October 31st, whereas on a different page it is showing as November 10th. Now I have done the same update using our community solution here. So here on my home page, I have it as I made only one update, right? Now if I go into my products, I never got into my products and updated. You can see here under my products, the same message is getting reflected. So what we are able to do here is we are able to reuse the component such a way that if you have a need to display one component on multiple pages, you can easily put them on multiple pages, and then with one update, you would be able to reflect all those pages having the same message or the same content. Right. Now here, of course, I'm showing a text, but you can kind of do the same thing with an image styler or use images or a combination of images and text. So here, one update makes automatically reflects all the changes in the communities. So this kind of provides both that the configuration and the reusability aspect of it. So now, one of the things that, like, where if you're an organization where you have multiple products, or you're operating on multiple regions, having users with multiple languages. Now, Salesforce does provide a way to address multiple languages, and also provide some kind of personalization through page variations. So when you're doing your personalization through page variations, it would require you to create multiple profiles, and then even though there are two or multiple users who has the similar kind of profile, but just because of their region or where they're located, and for the personalization, you might have to split that users into multiple and group them into multiple profiles, and then suddenly you're dealing with a lot more profiles than you need to provide that personalized aspect to the end user. To address that, what we have done is we have incorporated the personalization aspect into the component itself. So here in our, I can kind of just showcase you one of our image stylers here. So if I click on my image styler, you can see there is a whole bunch of information that is being available for the content admins. Again, one of the points here is, as a content administrator, if I want to upload images and manage them, again, I don't need a builder access. All I need is my image styler component, and I would be able to manage all my images right here. And I can indicate how many images I want to display, whether I want to display it in horizontally or vertically. And also, if I am, let's say, a company that has products that I'm selling both in US and in Europe, specifically to, let's say, to Spain, then I can here showcase or personalize my information to that specific users by uploading the different images and having the community render the appropriate image based on the end user's locale or end user's language preference. So without having to create additional profiles and multiple page variations, we are able to address that personalization aspect right within the component. So to highlight one of those, I have one example here. So I'm here logging in as a US customer, and when I access my products, I can see that there are only 3 types of mobile phones that are available for me. Whereas if I am a customer who is logging in from Spain, the same component, I'm using the same component, but now because of my locale and where I'm coming from, I have an additional phone that is available, or an additional mobile that is available for me. Right? And again, both of these are configured right from one single component. Right? So if I go into my products here and look here, so I do have all these images that are being shared, but this last image is only applicable for Spain and not for United States or anywhere else. So the community, once as part of our custom solution, or when the page is being rendered, it knows what applies to the particular region and displays only those applicable content. Right. So here, so we kind of have seen a whole library of rich components that are that we have developed to address as part of some of these challenges and as part of our community solution. So we have, again, to address some of your social feeds, let's say if you are actively involved on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram, you can use some of these components and then feed directly into your customer community and showcase it and make it more engaging for your end customers as well. Right? So you have your Facebook page, your Instagram feed, or your Twitter feed. So all of those things, again, these are all just basic drag and drop, and you configure them with your hashtags, and now suddenly you have made it more personalized. Now, if you have multiple product pages, you can have a Twitter feed for, let's say, a specific product, then you create a different Twitter feed component on that particular page, and with that specific hashtag, you can feed only that specific related messages. So as part of these components, one of the things that we've also seen is most of the customers always kind of struggle with the best use of knowledge. Now, as part of Salesforce, you have your knowledge articles available, but out of the box using the Napoli templates, do you have some limitations on how those knowledge articles can be surfaced to your community and engaging your customers? So, for example, if you're using your knowledge articles where you have your frequently asked questions or how-tos of a particular product. Now, in order to surface them onto your community, if you're using out of the box, the only one option is to manually create a rich text component and copy the links over and then create a manual set of links that has to be maintained manually. So whenever there are new FAQs that are created or new how-to documents that are created, then somebody from a content standpoint has to go in and edit those rich text content. To address that, what we have done is we have created a featured article component that enables you to directly connect from leverage your existing knowledge articles, and then using the data categories that are tied to your knowledge articles, mapping your data categories to those knowledge articles and surfacing them onto the community. So, for example, if I have FAQs that I want to surface onto my my community, I would use our feature article component and select the data category aspect which I want to filter those knowledge articles on, and then surface them onto the community. So here is our featured article component where I'm able to select what type of knowledge articles I want to showcase. So I can say, if I, instead of mobile, let's say if I want to just target I'm not sure if there are any, so I can change what type of articles that I want to surface here, and without having to manually go and update, I can use my the component right here to make those changes dynamically, pulling right from the knowledge articles. Right. And on those knowledge articles, one of the other things that I wanted to highlight also is, from a, earlier I kind of briefly mentioned about the trending article where you have to use the topic ID for the out of the box, whereas with our custom component, we have enabled it using a topic names. Now, when you're using the out-of-the-box, one of the limitations that you have with out-of-the-box is that, for example, if I associate my trending articles to a specific topic ID, then it only bubbles or it only reflects the articles that are related to that specific specific topic. So, for example, if I associate my trending articles to the topic ID of an iPhone, then it only pulls up on my standard one. It only pulls up only those articles that are related to that specific iPhone. And if there are no articles at all related to iPhone or mobile, nothing else would show up. Whereas with our custom component, what we have done is we have extended that capability where if there are not that many articles available for iPhone, but there are additional articles that are related to the parent of the iPhone. Like, for example, in this case, the parent topic of the iPhone topic is mobile. So here, so the parent topic is mobile, and then the parent topic of mobile is devices. So if it sees that if there are not that enough articles to show for the iPhone topic, then it goes and searches for the trending articles within mobile and then pulls up those relevant articles for the mobile. So that's why here we see, apart from the top 7 articles that are related to iPhone, it also pulls up some other related mobile related articles and showcases them. So it kind of gives you that flexibility to go up the hierarchy and display the relevant articles rather than saying there are no articles available. Right? So that kind of brings us to the end of our demo from a custom community solution standpoint. And I will also joining us today is our Chief Architect Vikram Datla, and I'll just open it up for Q&A. And so, Jay, back to you.
Thanks, Prasad, and hope you guys are able to appreciate some of the work that has been done in trying to make communities more productive for the admins while make it more adaptable for the end users. That has been our focus. So I have some questions coming up. Please feel free to keep sending us more questions. So let me start with something. Prasad, while we are talking about before we bring up the questions, can you publish the poll? You should have the poll on the top. You should be able on the more if you can. Yeah, I request kindly if you could just 3 questions. If you guys can take a minute to answer this poll, we would greatly appreciate it. It would be of great use to us to understand where you are, if you're actually using sales communities. If not, where are you in your journey, kind of a thing. 3 questions, takes 3 seconds. Please, it helps us out. Okay. So while folks are taking that, let's just give a few seconds. Vikram, are you online?
Yes, Jay, I'm there.
Yeah, okay, all right. So let me start out with the first question. One question is, folks are asking, are these components, these solutions available on App Exchange? So the answer is no, they are not available at this point of time. So that leading question to that is, if not, when will they be available? We are currently putting them through the security review. We're hoping that these components should be available on App Exchange beginning next year, early next year, sometime post, because the whole security review takes a couple of months. So beginning January, first quarter, we definitely should be putting these out components on the App Exchange so that people can start using them. But in the meantime, if you do want to use them, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to work with you to implement these components for you guys. Another question, probably Vikram, this might be for you, is are these components going to be compatible with the future releases of Salesforce? How will we ensure that they're going to be compatible from a future release point of view?
Right. I'd be happy to take that question, Jay. So all
Yeah.
these components that we have created are either components that extend standard Lightning components that are currently provided, or components that are built from scratch. So in that regard, from a compatibility perspective, we don't see any issues with any of these components unless Salesforce drops the bucket on your unless Salesforce drops the ball on your out-of-box components like trending articles and stuff. But other than that, I don't see any issues with it. And just to give you some perspective, we have been implementing these components over the course of last year and a half with our various clients. And if you work closely with Napoli, you would know that a whole lot has changed in the past year and a half. Prasad was demoing earlier about topic related components, your featured articles, and things like that. And especially on that front, Napoli has changed significantly with some of the latest releases. But our components are still really relevant, and they are still compatible with any future upgrades that you might have in terms of Lightning.
Okay. Thanks. So another question I have is, what are the best practices of migrating between environments, that is development, test, and production? Are there any communities best practices for moving them from one environment to another?
Right. So I think that is one of our strong points in terms of packaging and bundling your components. The typical pain point that you currently have when you migrate components from one environment to another, at least in the current standard setup, is to reconfigure all these components again in the new environment from scratch, right? I mean, you took a look at the trending articles component where you have to copy paste this topic IDs across environments. What we do is, when you are packaging your components, you're not only packaging the components, but also we provide the ability to package the configurations as well. The configurations are stored in custom S objects. So by migrating both the components as well as the configurations, you would be able to easily port using our framework. I mean, the standard packaging techniques like creating a chain set to migrate them is what is typically done. But as part of that chain set, we include not only our components, your Lightning community pages with the components, but also our configurations as well. So that alleviates the need for you to reconfigure them for each environment. In terms of best practices for deploying your components in your standard Napoli communities, that could be a topic of discussion on its own. But I just wanted to highlight how we do it with our component set.
Okay. So there is another question that's come up: is the knowledge component you showed using topics or data categories?
Right. That's actually a very, very good question. I think some of the biggest challenges that you have in Napoli is in targeting the content. And when you're talking about targeting the content on your community for different users, you're relying on navigational topics within communities, if you're familiar with the internal details. When you are setting up navigational topics, there are a lot of limitations, and Prasad has touched upon some of them. One significant limitation is the topics that you set up based on which you want to target the content has to be only 3 levels, and at each level there are restrictions around number of topics that you can have. So let's say I'm a global company and I have 100 plus products, and if I want to target content for each one of my products, there is no way to configure all of your products as a topic within Apply, because you have a hard limit of maximum number of 24 topics at the root, right? You cannot go beyond 25 topics at the root level, and at the child level, you can have only 10 topics. So a lot of content targeting fails in Napoli because of these limitations around navigational topics, with either the number of navigational topics you can have, or there are limitations around having duplicate values. You cannot have two duplicate values. So I cannot have support under two different products, to give you an example. I don't want to go into all the details, but what we have primarily done with our component set is to go beyond the limitations that you have with topics and take it to directly a data category level that you have in knowledge. So when you're configuring your components in Naply, even if you're configuring a component like trending articles, which completely relies on topic, what we are doing in the background is mapping the topic to a data category and fetching those articles. So that's how we have provided that flexibility. And in terms of featured articles as well, we are directly querying the data categories from knowledge and providing the user's ability to slice and dice this information based on however it has been set up within knowledge. So you don't need to replicate the same set of data categories again as topics within within your community. So to answer your question, yes, we are relying on the underlying data categories that these articles are mapped to, and it addresses a whole lot of limitations you have in terms of navigational topics in template.
Okay, thanks, Vikram. So those pretty much are the questions we have. All right. Okay. So let's. There are no other questions. I'll just give one more minute, and please do. I mean, if you happen to be in Dreamforce, please say hello to us. We'd be happy to meet you and chat. Okay. Or else. So going once, twice. No other questions. So thanks everyone for joining the webinar. It's really appreciate your time. And we will be sharing the recording with you probably in the next couple of days in case you want to share. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions. We have our contact information, either myself or Vikram. Please contact us and set up. We can be more than happy to talk to you. If any questions you have on this specific webinar or on anything specific to your community environment, we will be more than happy to talk to you. Okay. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.